Alright, well, I think my thumbnails wouldn't be so bad if I actually put effort into them. Also, if I kind of invested in that sort of the Photoshop stuff, you know. If I got some of those design elements that kind of made up like a Minecraft or a YouTube thumbnail, a YouTuber's thumbnails, if I got like a good assortment of videos, or if I had a good assortment of, I cannot form sentences. If I had a good assortment of YouTube graphics and design elements, then I think I'd be doing way better when it came to making good thumbnails, because I just have more stuff to work with. I think that's a problem I have in general, which is that I just don't have enough media. I don't have enough media to create anything cool. So, got my first block down, which is nice and all. First off, I gotta figure out how big I want this thing to be. Now, for reference, I have the 3D model pulled up on this end. You can actually see someone in there, which is kind of a cool detail. But you can see the main thing I'm going to be using, like the display entities feature for, is the front cockpit, because it's spherical and it has it has that iconic window. Of course, there's also these wings which slope downward. I want to say like a 25-degree angle? Would that be accurate? I think so. I mean, I think 4 of those could add up to 100 degrees. And this model's lacking some of the details, some of the finer details here. If we go to here, this one, you can kind of see a little bit more machinery on top, a little bit more mechanisms. Actually, yeah, this one has less. Then we have this picture here. I'm gonna hide this. Okay, never. Okay. Underside here, I have another picture of TIE Striker here, which is from the official Star Wars website. Kind of cool. And I think that's it. I've also got this one. I'm not sure how useful this reference image will be, but I've got it. So looking back at this, I think, and actually looking at this color, I think the main material is probably going to be stone. But if I want to have like a reasonable scale, then I think I would want to have a somewhat circular build, and I'm just going to start out by kind of defining this circular. This block, oh, this is 6 blocks wide. I want to generate a kind of a 5x5 circle, which I actually don't know how to do in Axiom, because I'm like extremely new. Like, however new you think I am to this, I learned how to do anything with this program. Like, I learned how to do everything in this program maybe 2 or 3 hours ago. So you're watching a complete beginner here, and can edit this, have a diameter of 5 blocks, which, you know, obviously it's not going to result in a very complex shape. And I think I want this block to be made of something other than tall grass. There we go. There's my sphere. You can see it's not very complicated. So this means that a lot of my editing and a lot of what's going to make this build work is going to be done to these stairs and slabs. And so I think first off, I've got to experiment and see what sort of shape works the best. My mouse isn't connecting very well to this computer. But yeah, like, you can see if this was a normal Minecraft build, then I would probably have some sort of trouble transferring this spherical shape over onto the other facets of the build. But fortunately, this isn't vanilla Minecraft, and I can use this thing called display entities, which I literally have no idea how to use. I watched a tutorial, but I've never done anything with them yet. So, but what I think I can do is I can spawn in a block like this, then I can move it around. And the cool thing about these display entities is that if you move them closer, you can see that they don't have collision. Well, it's not really an example, but if you move them into here, you can see they don't have collision, and so you can kind of use them to create some abnormal geometry. And that is what this build basically entirely relies on. So I'm gonna get rid of this because, of course, I don't need that specifically for this part of the build. But I think if I do something like this all the way around, and then if I could do something like this as well, and I think this would lend me kind of that ideal spherical shape. If I go like this, does it start to become more like a, is this a good circle? Actually, that's probably what I should have asked before I started. But if I do something like this, is that going to be a good circle? I mean, I think it looked fine on over there, but here it kind of looks more like a. Now, if I did this, if I had let's say I had side slabs, that would definitely turn it more into like a diamond. But I think this is pretty close to circular. I think if I were to, let's just make a fake window. If I were to do something like this, I think my block updates are off, so let's just turn this back off. Is that what it is? Yeah. Turn these on. Like, I think it could work in terms of a window. That could work. I think it's fine. You can get away with that. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna extend this. I'm gonna kind of work on this sort of sphere shape, because I have to kind of, I don't really have to make it work in every cardinal direction. In fact, I don't, like, at all, but I do think it'd be kind of helpful to figure out before I start working on the main body of the build, considering that like every other step is going to be easier. So you can see here already we're running into a bit of an issue where these stairs, or specifically this stair here, doesn't intersect with this side as it does the other side. And this isn't as much of a problem in this stone shape because everything's stone and it all looks the same. But I think if I were to make this out of a different material, something I learned technically how to do in Axiom, but I don't really know how to do, so I'm also going to figure this out right now. So okay, I've got this selection, and I'm going to replace, or specifically type replace, from this to stone brick. Then, oh, I don't know if I can actually see what's going on here that well, but you can see it looks different from here compared to here, and I'm not sure how good looking of a shape that would look, and that's not even to mention, you know, whatever's going on here in the bottom. So realistically, or to create that realistic shape, I need to make my hand a debug stick, which is this. So now what I can do is I can tinker with this build and also with a bunch of other things. Wait, really? You can get rid of corners from stone bricks as well? Wait, it's kind of cool. Okay. Yeah, I need that sort of corner block. This is what I think will work for a sphere shape if I just have these corner blocks on each side. We can do some like advanced geometry type of thing. And hope. Really, I'm hoping that this will kind of work out and make something kind of cool. And yeah, it's suffice to say this is going to be kind of cheaty. You know, starting out, I'm like already starting out using like debug sticks and display entities, but the goal here is accuracy. And the goal is for me to kind of develop a better grasp and more familiarity with both 3D stuff and using Axiom. And more importantly, creating stuff. So I think this is better. I think there's a part of me that wants to go like this instead. To kind of round out like here, even. Because, you know, I'm already using the debug stick. I might as well go all in. And I think this might look fine. I'm gonna overthink every step of the process. I'm not gonna lie. It's actually, this will look good. If I do something like this, for example, first off, yeah, my update should be off. So nothing is gonna be affected. But if I cut out like this part of the sphere, and I make my window, I think this will work. If I need to, I think I can also, I wonder how much of this block I can get rid of. Not much. If I get rid of more, then it just stops becoming a stair. In fact, I'm just surprised you can even tinker with stone bricks like this at all. But yeah, no vertical slabs and none of that. So the difference right now, like the decision is kind of, I'm trying to make a decision between this sort of top between this sort of stair design, which I think I might as well just make, just so I have an idea of what's happening here. It's between this and with each side kind of turn into a stair, which I do kind of, it does look kind of square. It might look like this, or it could look like this. But if it looks like this, then I have to make it be made out of like debug materials and all that stuff. I could do something like this, but there's no way to make vertical or diagonal slabs, or corner slabs on the side, corner stairs on the side with real blocks. So I could do something like this, and it would look very circular, but I don't know. The thing is, I do think this would be really cool. And what's more is I could definitely do it, but it wouldn't be with real blocks anymore. And you know, I think I want to try to create that sense of like, I want to create some accuracy. I want to create an accurate build, and I'm okay with using the debug stick and using Tinker and all this other stuff, but I do want to try to make a main body that's like achievable in survival Minecraft. That being said, that doesn't stop me from making the bottom look like that though. So I could try something like this and go around each of the sides. Do something like this. And Yeah, here's the thing. Now it looks a little lopsided, so I don't know. But the good thing is, even if it does look lopsided, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, yeah, sure, here, the actual TIE Striker is a perfect sphere with a perfect spherical window in the middle. The main thing, that's really what I'm mainly excited for, is making the window. Anyways, there's the window. There's the front. I'm gonna switch the material back. Okay. And here's the thing. Now, in order to make the body, I have a couple of options, but I'm still hung up on like the sphere shape, because mainly because like the front here doesn't really look like a sphere. I could still make it look good. Looking good is not the main thing. The main thing is I just doesn't look very much like a sphere to me, and that kind of bothers me, but I think it'll be fine. Like, we can live with this. Okay, so I'm gonna use the clone tool, or actually the stack tool, and I'm gonna make my first point here. I actually don't know if I'm gonna be able to make this. Edit. Okay. Maybe instead of just using any of these axioms, maybe I just lock in and I just make an actual selection. I copy like this. Not gonna bother with rotations or whatever. Okay. So I don't see where my build went, so I'm just gonna make another selection. And gonna go ahead and select this. Okay. Copy, paste. Copy and paste in. And then I'm gonna make it kind of go to the side a little bit. Paste, copy. Keep existing. Oh, that's scuffed. Not only that, but it also, okay, it does let me copy and paste. Because I do have to do this a couple more times just to get the main shape out. I thought that the shapes of the blocks wouldn't be messed with, but now it's making me question if I actually want to do it like this at all. There's also a bunch of stone slabs. There's a bunch of jank happening right now, basically. Okay, what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna replace all these materials with something very visible. Something like stone bricks, maybe. Not stone bricks, like end stone. Okay. Let's copy. Here. Oh, what the hell? Okay. Like this. And what else am I gonna do? Type replace. Stone to. Let's try end stone bricks. I'm not sure this will actually help me see what's going on better, but it's just easy enough to work with. And To be honest, it looks like the shape got transferred over pretty well, which is good. Okay, I'm also just gonna get rid of some of this stuff. And getting rid of this as well. Okay, so now I've got this sort of body shape. If I look at this compared to my body shape here, you can see it's more like a pill, kind of. Where if I were to look at this side by side with the build I've got here, I think that this, like a normal view, it's around, let's say it's around half, I think it's around half the size. I think it's about half. So I'll copy this, paste it in, drag it down, move it over, or just lose my paste completely. Move it over like here. Paste copy, or just paste. And I think I can do one more and get away with it. I can do like I think one more is probably enough to make this look kind of accurate. In shape. Is this a little long? Is it? It might be. Comparing this, if I look at this, is a pretty long shape. But I think if I look at this from like down under, it does seem a little bit long. I mean, this does give a lot of potential for interior, I will say. This is what, 14 blocks long. So if I make the wheel, make the wings a little longer, it'll be a little larger than scale. This is how big the wings are. But I think side by side, I want to try to get the same scale going. I'm just trying to find I'm really just trying to find the proportions. I think this, I'm looking with my eyes, it looks pretty similar. It doesn't help that I haven't made any extra depth here. Not like I'm not sure there's gonna be a lot of room to make extra depth, but if I do something like this, maybe. This is how I would normally do it, is I would grab some end stone walls and go around the side. And that could kind of do it. And I think that would add that kind of, that shape we're looking for. But yeah, that's our main body. So I think next up is the wings. And specifically, we'll start with the wing attachments. And what I see here is there are these things here. These attachment modules, which might be easier to look at in one of these extra views. This one seems to have a little bit of like a trapezoidal shape. It's like two trapezoids or a hexagon on each side. And it's around in the middle. So if I were to build it, it'd be like right here. Which, you know what, proportionally, I think that looks about right. And then if I were to go like, I think I would have to extend up to like here. Maybe. And then maybe down on the bottom, extend out like something like this. Is this a little too triangle-y? I can't tell because in the 3D model it shows it as being like, it shows this side as being just like straight up, which would be kind of simplistic and honestly kind of boring, even though it does get the shape right. I do this. From the front, you can't really tell, so it definitely doesn't stand out too much. If I go like this, though, it wouldn't look bad. And I'll have to do some machinery components here. But anyways. It's this versus this down here. And I think to be honest, I like the first one more. This is about like, of course, any of the compartments that I would add. So this is a hinge type of thing, type of joint. I'm gonna grab some end stone brick slabs, and I think if I do something like this, this kind of gets the shape across. It might be a little big if I go from here. But I think this does it. Or maybe something like this might also work. If I go like this, I might as well start working on. Oh yeah, I forgot. If I do this, then let's take a look at. Oh, there's a top-down view I had earlier. This one. Okay, it looks basically flat. So alternatively, maybe I could just grab something like an iron trapdoor and stuff it in here to add a little bit of extra depth. That would work too. And then for the wings, it would be kind of a plane. So I think what I'd use for that is a path, or actually maybe modeling tool. And actually, let's go ahead and start this like out a little further. Let's move this out to here. And so what I want from this end is kind of just a straight edge. One that kind of looks like this. This is fine. Okay. Straight edge, and then I want another point, which I don't know how to add. Catmull ROM surface. Add another row. How do I add another row? It would be by doing. Okay. And I don't think I'm looking for a Catmull ROM surface here. I'm looking for a flat surface. So something like this. And I think I want to move this out to the side more. This might be too far, but I'm just gonna try to get, I just want to try to get the overall shape first. So what I've got here is the inside is flat and it extends out for longer. Then over here, there's a part which I kind of need to extrude, which goes out to here. Oh shit. This goes to here and it should connect to here. Okay, I've gone and made a mess, but This is kind of close to the shape that I'm looking for. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna delete all the rows. And I'm gonna extrude to here. Or how about I just start with one? Start by having points extruded to here. And I can make this side kind of long. And I could add a row, right? Now if I add a row, and I add a point, goes out to here, add another point, and it should connect to here. And this is good, because now all I need to do is move this back, and move this back. And I kind of already have the dimensions for the wing. And I think I can use, I thought there was a way to use slabs to kind of help the modeling, but I guess not. Can put this all on the same Y level. Or same, I guess, this is probably Z, right? X or Z, whatever. And I've kind of figured it out. And I think if I have this go here, then maybe if I extrude this and I'm trying to think, maybe if I right click it over. Oh no, these are two functionally different points, even though they exist on the same thing, which isn't exactly what I wanted, but this is fine. Okay, so I figured that out. And I'm back here, and I need to figure out the angle that this actually sits at. And I'm not sure what better way I could do that.
Welcome back to diplom.com. I'm Gottfried Hofmann. Right here on the left, I click it.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to figure out how to get my tool spot. Well, whatever.
And now I can left click in the scene and and now I can right here on the left, I click it.
Or Blender measure tool. Measure. I mean, I could also do this. This is a little cheaper, but something like this. Okay, and then got my digital protractor over here, and I need to grab this, save it. I almost feel embarrassed doing this because I can't figure out my viewport. When I drag the measure tool in, I should be able to edit. Also, what is this? I'm also not sure what's going on. Oh, it's another TIE Striker, but it's way smaller for some reason. I could get rid of it, but well, I'm not sure how that happened. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close and reopen because I'm not trying to use my brain right now. Blender. Okay, and I can import the collada. And whatever scale doesn't really matter here. Okay, and I'm gonna get onto. I should already be in object mode. And then I grab my measure tool. I should be able to measure this. This measures distances. But I'm trying to find the angle of a line. Drag a ruler segment to measure an angle. Ruler as in. I also don't know how to get rid of these, but it's a problem for later. Okay, let me go up here. I think I can make my other line this right here. And to measure the angle, it says oh, what? Okay. Okay, let's delete this one and this vertex of the measure tool. And I'll do this. I'll also delete this. So this is roughly a 36-degree angle. So I was wrong. It's definitely not a 20-something degree angle. And I think what I can do with this is I can make a surface, or I can make a measurement here. I think I can try to make or there's a way to make an angle here. I think it's with path. It might be with path. Stamp. Yeah, here it is. Okay, if I grab a shape, let's say I just grab a flat, and I make it wide. I can rotate it, or I can just get rid of it, but I have a shape here, can roll it by 36 degrees to kind of get a reference to the angle that this thing's supposed to be at. So, all right. So, if I do something like this, I move this up somewhat adjacent. Then do I think this looks accurate to the real shape? Do I really think it looks accurate? Right now, no. Also, I think my blocks may have updated. Nah, they look fine. Okay. Wait, yeah. What the hell? The other side's just completely messed up. I'll get to that in a second, but I got my wing here. If I look at this in comparison to the striker here, it does look a little different. Now, what I think it might be is that the angle that this is rotated by. If I go back to shape, I should be able to edit the roll still. It might be because it's negative 36 and it should be 36. I might rotate it differently. I'll just find an angle that looks good. Oh, or I'll just delete it. Okay, first let's just go ahead and fix the entire inside. My block update should be off, so it doesn't actually matter what I get rid of in here. So I should be able to just move, clone, stack, smear, extrude face. Okay. Oh, that's why. Okay, the orientation was messed up from here to here. And if I can replace these end stone stairs with end stone bricks. Now I get something like this. And for some reason, these on this side turned to stairs as well. In fact, it looks like everything turned into stairs, which is super confusing. But you never know. also means the bottom is messed up. You know, it'll help me get more familiar with buildings, so I'm fine with it. And now we're back. And I've got my new build all fixed up. All the offending blocks have been replaced. Okay. Well, I've got my module. I just need to make the accurate wings. I'll get rid of this for now. And I've got to figure out how to make this exist or rotate at a good angle. So if I go like here, got my shape again. And to be honest, I don't think it looks that bad. But maybe if I rolled it, if I rolled it 36 degrees this way, I've just got to figure out how it's being rotated. If it's being rotated from the bottom, then it should be fine because of that law of interior exterior angles or whatever. So if I rotate it like this, if it rotates like 36 degrees, then it should still look accurate. But I feel like even here, it looks like that rotation is way steeper than the one that's measured here in Blender, which for some reason Blender's lagging. But yeah, okay. So I'm gonna go back to the reference. I think my angle is probably safer to be at like at this almost 20 degrees. That's why I kind of eyeballed it as being like 25 degrees. Like this. Because that looks pretty similar, right? If I have my wing, so it doesn't look like the wings actually go over the ship at all. If I take my wing down here and I kind of make this a little shorter. I don't mess with that at all, but oh, now my shape is gone again. I've got to figure out how to deal with that. 0, 0. Okay, the shape is back. For some reason, it looks like it's already pasted in place, which it shouldn't have done. It doesn't look like it got in the way of anything, but this is 26 degrees. It looks pretty good. I mean, it kind of helps that the sides are what's it called? Like this, like that kind of helps. So put this here, and then I can go back to using my other tool, which was the modeling tool. Can do my row 1 like this. And, oh, what? I already have an extra point. I meant to grab this. Okay. Flat surface. It is weird that the flat surface is already looking different to how this looks, but it doesn't matter because what I'm trying to get here is the edges. I'm trying to make them work. So this is my first end. This is my second end. And it's got to end at a point, kind of like this. This has got to be straight. Kind of like that. Okay. My reference, I'm gonna, where did my, oh, fuck. Oh. It's gone. It's gone. Oh man, I'm not meant to do this. Okay, boom. Boom. New row here. Point. We should extend here. Then if I add another row and extrude from here to here, then yes, that should work. And then if I extrude from here, what happens? It looks good so far. I need to move all of this so that none of this gets in the way. If I do something like this, for example, that's gonna be weird. Okay. What I could just do is just drag all these points along. It feels like I made progress by doing this, so I don't want to get rid of it yet. But I didn't really, because this is a mess. This is definitely a mess, but you can see the shape now. You can see some of the vision that this is supposed to be. So if I edit this, I've just got to wonder, you know, if I edit the model from like here, it doesn't actually let me edit it, does it? No, it doesn't. Okay, so I've got my thing here, and this needs to be a little bit lower. I'm just gonna fly around till it looks good. I've got to find an ideal target length, but first I need to kind of have these. I need to find a target size in general. I think what it looks like here is each of the wings are slightly, I wouldn't say twice the size, but it gets very close. It would be like 5/3 of the size of the main body, and so these are looking a little skinny. But if I go to here, we're starting to get close to that look, and then in terms of the size, This looks like it's around, it looks like it's around twice as long, plus a little extra section that makes it not quite twice as long, but this is definitely too long. No, I do not want to edit this by height. Okay. Which means obviously I'm making it a little bit too wide. There's of course the section in the back. But yeah, you can see the wings are looking better. And of course, the shape of the wings shouldn't be like this. It should actually be oh, maybe not like that, but or actually it shouldn't be there. This should be on the same Y level as this, so which makes the shape look more basic than it really is, or look more basic than I've been making it out to be. So I'm gonna pull this back here, and I think a reasonable amount of blocks to go over. 5 blocks, like that's probably fine. It looks like it's around the same. Oh, it looks like it's around the same as the distance between this and this, which is roughly 5 blocks. So I think going 5 blocks over is fine for preserving accuracy. And then the wings kind of taper to be, I already guessed, like maybe a block wider than this, so like here. So I'll look up. It looks fairly accurate. And I'll grab this and I'll drag it back too, so that this is kind of, this point kind of syncs up with this and this point here. Which for some reason I can't edit that other point, but anyways. This is gonna be around twice the size, so it's gonna be around here. And let's see how that shape is in comparison to the real thing. So, based off of the shape of this block, it looks pretty similar. Of course, this is a little bit, it's a little wide, but the wings seem to have a pretty similar shape. I think the angle here in the back could be a little steeper, so I can move this back a little bit. The side also isn't that long, so I could probably try to move this back just by a little, which I think would be a little bit more accurate. I could also try making this just a slight bit wider. I think we're getting there. I think it's getting closer to looking like the real thing. Interesting that, like, here, to achieve that shape, I ended up moving this side a bit further back than it would be, but paste copy, in that I still have these vertices. Okay, and so to make an exact copy, move this over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks, so that it precisely mirrors. And then I'm gonna grab this, also move it over, so that it is a precise mirror. Which doesn't look like quite a mirror. Okay, I'm just gonna remake the shape again. It's not that hard because the Y and the positions of these on like a couple of the axes is already fine, so. Okay, this actually looks almost symmetrical, so I'm not far off. Size 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is a bit too wide. And this looks pretty much the same. Okay. Well, now I've got the wings. I've got the wings in a pretty proper shape. Now I think in order to merge these onto the body, I raise these each side by 2 blocks. And I think that's it. To be honest, I think that's it. I'm just trying to guess. No, I think that's pretty good. Because you see here, they don't actually like. There's a bit of a gap. It doesn't. It's obviously not 1 block, but it's getting close to being 1/5. You know, whatever this is here. So I think this is fine. I'll paste copy, and then what I'm gonna do here is I need to figure out. I'm just trying to see what this looks like in game. And I think I'm gonna move or erase this box here. Okay, and then now if I move this over, let's just take a guess. This is, we move over to right here. This be moved over to right here. And this is what, 8 blocks. Which, from a glance, it already looks symmetrical. Because it is. So I've just successfully built the wings. And paste. And there we go. There are the wings of the TIE Striker, which, at least in my opinion, essentially match what I look like here. In fact, if I grab this and I take a screenshot and I superimpose it, let's take a better one. Take like this. Superimpose it over the actual image. It looks damn near the same. I think I just about got the ratios right. For actually the whole build, which is really satisfying. This is really satisfying to look at. Hour in, and I've just managed to get the shape right. This is my first ever project in Axiom, so I'm not too concerned with the time. So now, well, actually, I feel like I have to take a look and just be like, damn, I just straight up built this thing. Like, that's it. That's the whole shape. That's the whole shape of the entire build. There's not even like, there's really not any more complicated parts that I had to make here, so I can actually start tinkering with the real build. So first off, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip a coin. Do I want to work on the wings more, or do I want to work on the body more? One's the body and two's the wings, and we flip. Oh, yeah. Heads of the body and tails of the wings. Flip again. And it lands on tails. So we're gonna work on the wings. And what this entails is I grab this box select, and we just go down here and we replace this with black stone. And so I think my material choices, Blackstone, it looks like it's going to be the best. If I replace some stone, to black stone. Black stone, polished black stone is one option, which I think, at least, I think it matches the color pretty well, and it has the side bonus of kind of matching some of this other aesthetic. So what I could do is, there should be a way to replace, like, blocks. Oh, actually, let me set up a symmetry. Because I think I can do something like this. Place a symmetry here. And now if I do something like this. Oh, there's a range, isn't there? Wait. Okay, wait. So how does this work? It doesn't look like my symmetry is doing anything. Oh. Uh-oh, that's not what I want. Okay. Let's be careful. And that's not it either. That is really cool, by the way. The symmetry thing is really cool. So I do want to try to use it. Okay, so now I have my Z symmetry. I don't think this will get in the way of me using this replace tool though. So I think I can do something like this. And if I move this over here, can probably replace the stone with black stone, polished black stone bricks, or polished black stone, and do this. And now I've got my actual both sides in, and it didn't do any symmetrical shenanigans. Okay, and just to start out, I want to try replacing these blocks just with stone, just to see how it goes. And I think just based off like a glance, I think that stone is fine, but that I would rather use some other block. I also think that doing this diagonally, you can see that like some of the lower parts of the wing have parts that kind of stick out a bit. So this is fine, but I could do better with color at least. And you can see also there's parts of the underside that stick out a bit, and I think my solution for those, I'm just gonna get rid of them. And the reason why, my reasoning for this is because I'm gonna start adding slabs, and I also think that this side could use some stone bricks, some stone slabs instead, like something like this would be kind of cool. I could do something like even like this. Shape like this maybe could work as a transition up to here. Then it means I could do something like this as well. Just a transition. Or actually it would be like down here, and then it'd be up to here, and then this midsection would be kind of transitioning upward. Or it would really be, I think actually it would be like this. Um, like this, perhaps, maybe. And like this. If that's gonna be the case, I might as well make the end longer, like this. Okay, and I think working with the original colors is fine here because I'm just trying to figure out what stuff looks like. And that kind of goes for the black stone as well. But I think if I go like this. Grab some of these polished blackstone and brick slabs. Can delete this here. And then, of course, I think this shape will probably end up being... I'll probably end up replacing this shape with, like, the actual shape of the wings. Not to mention this right here. I might temporarily replace each of these blocks, actually. If I go, like, here... to here... Stone, I'll replace this with, what's a block that's easy to edit with, I think? Copper. Waxed, oxidized, cut copper. And then I'll replace... Wait, did I replace stone with that? Oh, I meant to replace those. Waxed. Waxed. Oxidized copper. Okay. And then cut copper slabs, and then I can replace the black stone with, let's say, not diamond blocks because they'd look too similar. Maybe mud bricks. What's a block that'd be visible is what I'm thinking. It means clear outlines. I can actually just do both types of copper. And slab. Okay, so now I've got my build, but instead it's in copper. Oh no. And the replace didn't preserve block states? Okay, let me just undo all that. Okay, that's scuffed. I'm just gonna ignore that I did that at all. Well, if I will say that when the transition here between this side, this the black part and the non-black part or the gray part is very smooth, you know. So I think that actually it would be more realistic to have extra curve here. That actually means I would have to do something like this. Just so that there's a permanently like smooth transition between each side. I also wonder if maybe I'm better off having okay, anyways, I'm just gonna hold that thought. For the sides on the bottom, get rid of this. There remains the problem of carrying on this texture here. So I think that instead, having the transition between each of these sections be partial could help, like something like this. Like this. That could be cool. And like this. There you go. I do think this is probably too low. If I go like this. Yeah, this is the problem. I'm trying to get this edge to line up. Well, I guess it wouldn't line up if this side here doesn't line up either, right? If I want this whole part to be even, then I should make the bottom here be even. And then I could do something like this. But that doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't make a curve. So if I went like this, yeah, I think that works. Oh, for some reason it doesn't look like the symmetry transferred over like perfectly. So now the other side's also messed up. If I delete this here though, what is that going to do to the other side? I shouldn't get rid of anything, right? Because that block won't exist there. So it's not like it was a problem it's not a permanent problem, but that is annoying because I did set up the symmetry, so I didn't have to worry about either side, but oh, see, look at that. That's confusing. But yeah, suddenly I just don't know, because if I keep editing on this side, then it'll make changes to the other side. Not everywhere for some reason, but actually, yeah, why doesn't this here? If I delete something here, yeah, that's gone. Then I replace that with a block. So I can still fix the other side, but oh, now okay, also if I compare this over from here to the other side, I also don't know how good this looks, having the sides like step up partially, because there's obviously the view from the side to consider, but also like views from like this angle, like view from the top, from the bottom. If I go like, if I have the side jut over just a little bit, it's not the end of the world, is what I'm saying. And it might just be necessary to try to achieve some form of, like, some sort of uniformity out of the look. I think end goal for material is I'm just gonna make it out of, or I'm gonna make it out of stone bricks on the outside. Yeah, I don't know why that symmetry doesn't carry over there for something like that, for example. Anyways, I'm gonna go here. just experimenting. I think this, if I do it like this, it'll make the wing seem thicker than usual, but I need to kind of clean this part up anyway and make this whole part of the bottom slabs, because otherwise it'll look messed up. It'll make the wing look a little too thick. I also think this, to some extent, should probably be thinner. How's that? Well, from the top it looks good, which is comforting. From the bottom, well, it does look like certain parts stick out. It doesn't look that asymmetrical, oh, but there are problems with the symmetry, and I'm just not sure how that even happens. It does make me kind of want to swap the blocks over. This is supposed to be there, so that looks fine. Like stuff like this, like how does that realistically happen without like a symmetry persisting onto the other side? Like if I do here, if I edit blocks here, you know, you can see the edits, you can see the effects. So I'm not sure how some edits persist while others don't. Like look at that, like what happened there? How is this side have a slab and the other one doesn't? But either way, all that aside, I think I have my wing. I think I have the outline. From all angles, it looks pretty good. There's the back where this shape kind of starts to look a little wonky. But that's kind of the issue in general with these types of builds, where like the side is always going to look a little weird. Okay, now it's time for a comparison. So, oh, this is going to be a little risky, but I think, okay, a magic select this element, and this and this and this. Okay, so that's all of this side. And I don't think that selects anything on the other side. But anyways, Control R, and I'm going to replace the stone with stone brick, and the stone slab with the stone brick slab. And this is the important thing that I kind of wanted it to get right, but it didn't. Okay, well, that didn't work, but it's fine because I can also just manually edit it. Also, wait, did it apply the symmetry on both? Oh, okay, wait. Well, I might as well look at it now then. So, there is my TIE Striker reference. And here's my actual thing. Do I think the color... I honestly think the color of this matches it better, but I'm also going to try other blocks like andesite. Andesite might... Oh, wait. Oh, this is cool. How do I get rid of it though? Okay. Did not escape my notice that that part of the wing started to get thinner at the end, but I can't dwell on it much now. So I'm also just gonna... I think I'm gonna also go ahead and make the lines. I have this replace mode tool. Like this. I think that should be fairly accurate. That should be fairly accurate. Look at that. Look at that. Tell me that is not the same ratio. Tell me that it's not the exact same as the model we got here. Which, I mean, it's actually arguably harder to see, but it's pretty close. And then what I would do here is probably like replace this as well with some external stuff. But yeah, like, come on now. Tell me that isn't like a perfect recreation. Now I got to do the underside, which, oh, the underside has the same thing, right? Well, look at the model. The underside should have the same thing. I'm clueless. Either my blender's lagging or I'm just an idiot. Yeah, underside looks basically the same. Which just means that I need to extend down a little bit. Okay. So that is the underside. And there's the sides. Even though I think it's a good ratio, I'm gonna try an experiment with alternative looks. But I think that, for example, like making this look a bit wider, it doesn't work, really. Also, I don't, even though I think it should be stone, wait, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try some polished andesite instead of stone, which probably means manually replacing this entire side, but I don't care. I'm gonna try some polished andesite instead of stone. Does that look better, or does that look cleaner or less clean? I think it looks cleaner. I think it looks cleaner. And because I can keep this look for the rest of it, it might work, but ultimately, if I want to recreate that precise and like smooth look, there's really nothing except for stone. You know, there's nothing else of that sort of like shade of gray that also conveys that smoothness like stone. And even though stone may be lacking building even though the stone might be a little dull in comparison, I mean, I can't lie, it is a very accurate, like, biblically accurate, you can even say, like, sure, the stone the shade of gray on the stone. It's not the same. If I were to match the colors, then andesite would work better. This one is really impressive. This is a 1-to-1 tie striker. It's very small, obviously, but it basically matches up. This guy used andesite, which I think is fitting. Andesite with stone highlights. I'm not sure, I just can't decide on a block. Andesite would fit the color better, but stone is a smoother look. Maybe I use andesite just for slabs and stone just for body. That doesn't seem like a good compromise. But if I go around the side here, you can't... I really just gotta figure out if andesite looks better on this side, because that is what's gonna... kind of make or break this look for me. Is if the andesite looks better, oh, it does look really good. I will say that okay, so I gotta say, I'm not gonna clear. Yeah, I'm gonna clear. I can just edit. I'll edit it later. Okay, I'm gonna say that comparing stone on this side with the smoothed out look, and andesite with some tiles, a lot of tiling, but ultimately a more accurate portrayal. Stone versus andesite. What do I think? Well, oh, let me turn my night shift off. Maybe none of the colors match at all. Oh, the blue's added.
I was gonna say eat some water around, but then I was like, it's gonna be hot.
Okay, was turning off the color, was turning off the lights really gonna help though? Like, I'm here and it's still... Like, objectively, if I take this color of this ship, in one POV it matches with the stone more, but in another one it matches with the andesite more. Like, this one is clearly more like stone, but this is also a random model, but... Here... Or here... I just don't know. Do you want the tiled look or the smooth look? I do like the smooth look a lot. But the tiled look, it's just overall. I'm really on the fence here. Like, I really don't know. It could honestly be either one, and I'd be okay with it, whichever side it is. It's either I either make this side out of stone or I make this side out of andesite. Try to get it to match. All I know is the stone brick is definitely ruled out because there's just too much geometry there. Like there's too much going on in the stone brick, and it doesn't match at all like the accuracy of the real build. So I take out all the stone brick elements. I replace them with andesite elements. Oh, I can't lie, the andesite's really appealing to me. I feel like I really want to think that that's the way it should be. Either way, I'm probably gonna make the body out of stone for now. So it's not a total loss for stone, but there's a reason why andesite is such a popular material for these like sci-fi type of builds. It's because it's just goated like that. It's just good. Oh no, it's the andesite. It's the andesite for sure. Okay, I'm going with the andesite. The smoothness of the stone, for me, the main failing of it is that stone has such a shitty texture. Like, it has a more raw and unpolished texture in general. And so, even if I want to like, even if I think the color of stone matches the look better, it doesn't change the fact that stone itself doesn't look like a refined block. And so when you're using stone, you have to use it in like wide amounts. Not wide, but like you gotta have a lot of stone next to each other. Stone is on its own as like a highlight block. It doesn't do it for me. I think that I much prefer using, I think I prefer the use of andesite here. Oh shit. Okay, so I'll finish replacing this, and then we can start talking about the main body, which I hope that when I replace it, it'll replace it properly. Dude, I gotta say, I'm really liking building on this lower FOV. And honestly, if I'm gonna play Bed Wars, I think I'll play Bed Wars on this FOV as well, because it just looks so like, just looks so good. It just looks so good. I think I had beef with this FOV because it made my character, well, first off, I don't get to see as much for sure, but I feel like when I'm looking at a build in this FOV, I feel like I can gather more like of the aesthetics. I can gather more of how it looks. See it better. That compared to the 103 FOV, and well, also I think the main thing is that I have to turn my mouse way more to place blocks in the stretched one. Okay. So the wings are done, actually. The wings are basically done. Besides some like rudimentary edits I can make, the wings are done. And so now I can magic select this whole body. Which looks like it's all selected to me. Make sure I grab this like that. Okay. Watch this. Okay. Now if I control R, or actually if I type replace from brick to stone, or maybe andesite. Oh, this is where I start to run into problems. See, like, okay. First off, I don't know why the type replace worked so flawlessly here compared to on the outside. I don't know what sort of like shenanigans are going on behind the scenes to make this happen, but okay. So here's some problems. So even though it does capture the shape well, I feel like seeing the grid on this main build, it just doesn't look right to me. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna replace this andesite. Okay, we'll try andesite to stone. Hmm. Even though it looks better. Even though it looks better. I just... Hmm. Oh no. That was my mic and not my keyboard, wasn't it? No, this is my mic. The mic is always the closest one. Okay. Well, where am I now? Bro, are we serious? I'm gonna make a cage for myself. Okay, well I'm trapped now. So my keyboard just stopped working, and that gives me some problems because first off, I need this world to save, and I need to leave this world. Here, if I plug it into some, like a USB in the back, it might read it differently. And allow me to... Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Well, if I close the world, it should be fine. I just don't know how I can activate the on-screen keyboard from in here. Oh, fuck me. I don't want to just up and close the world because I know that it's probably going to mess up the... You know, this is what I get for using an unverified copy of Windows. I've never figured out why it happens. And worse off, I don't have any clue as to how to fix it, but you can see here my keyboard is like, my keyboard's plugged in, but it doesn't like do anything. I have another keyboard which I could try to hook up.